Yeah, it's on my face.
Wait, I think it's a little dark, no? Okay. All right, let's get started.
You can edit it.
Yeah, that's true.
The lighting.
All right. Let's get started. Hello, everyone. My name is Lauren. This is No Fixed Address, a podcast about travel, culture, music, everything and nothing, and most importantly, stories from the road. So today I am here with the beautiful Claire. We are currently at the Tiger Leaping Gorge in China. We're still in China, heading towards the last days I'm here, and in very great company, I have to say. So I'll give you a quick background of the place where we are, because it's been beautiful. We came here, we did a trek yesterday. We met on the bus coming to the trek, stayed overnight, and so you and your friend are leaving today, and you're staying today,
yes,
and I am leaving today. So anyways, the Tiger Leaping Gorge is named this way because apparently the legend says that a hunter was chasing a tiger and it leaped from one rock to another that was about 25 meters long. That's the big legend. Anyways, the views are beautiful. I'm going to add a few shots at the beginning. It's been wonderful. Claire, please, let's get it started. Can you give us a little bit of background about yourself?
Hi, everyone. This is Claire, and I'm originally from San Francisco, California. I am turning 27 next month, which is pretty crazy, late 20s. And I decided to quit my job a couple months ago to start traveling full-time. I was previously working in sort of a politics-related areas on sustainable development and tech issues, responsible technology, very Silicon Valley type stuff. And then I decided I needed to save money to pursue traveling more, to properly, deeply explore a place and, have a different type of learning opportunity. And that's what I decided to do. And here I am, and we met.
Exactly, and I've been having a blast, honestly.
Yeah.
It's been awesome. So yesterday we met, as I said, at the bus on the way here, and so you are currently actually traveling with your friend Julia.
Yes.
You guys are both separately traveling. Julia is a digital nomad. You're moving around a little bit.
Yes.
Then you ended up meeting in China, and then we met yesterday, and we also met a German couple on the bus, and we ended up doing all the hiking
together, pretty much. Yeah.
Yes, and it was
really fun.
Awesome. Can you tell me a little bit more about maybe your traveling experience so far? So when you left, where you've been, what the plan is, because you're still figuring things out. You're taking some time for yourself right now, which is, again, awesome. This is very similar to Stephanie, who I had on the first episode. And so, give us a little bit more insights of all of this, and also the moment where you had the click of saying, okay, I am quitting this job. This is not for me. It's great, but it's not for me. Let me focus on what I actually truly care about.
So I feel like I've always really enjoyed traveling and found the of course politics, because that's what I studied, that's the field that I work in, politics of everything, and the cultural immersion, learning languages and things like that, really, really interesting. And it goes way back to when I decided to study abroad for all 4 years of my degree, from California to University of St. Andrews in Scotland. And one of the reasons why you asked me earlier, I forgot to say that I decided to go there was because more than 50% of the students are international students. So it's this really unique environment. You're in a village in Scotland, and everyone's from everywhere around the world. I think the first week I was there, I literally met 7 different people who were white people who grew up in Japan and spoke 7 languages and things like that. It was super interesting. So I think that's kind of the root of me wanting to explore more and learn more and meet people while I'm traveling and things like that. And I was lucky enough to have a job offer right out of graduation, but my contract literally started the day of my graduation. So I didn't have a gap year, I didn't take a break, and I was always I really love being able to deeply immerse myself and travel for longer, to be able to really understand a place, meet people, have flexibility to change up your plans if something comes up. So I knew from graduation that at some point I would take time off and, save money, take time off to properly travel. And when I met Julia was at my first job in New York, and then I got a new job offer back home in San Francisco, and I was like, this is great. I get to make San Francisco money, but I can live with my parents. Like, this is my route to be able to save money and to quit and travel. And so I did that last September. I left my job, and it was a really, really great job. I was working in philanthropy on responsible tech issues in Silicon Valley. It was really, really, especially with all this AI stuff, really engaging and stimulating and things like that. But ultimately, I was still like, my goal is to leave and to be able to immerse myself, so I'm going to do that. And it also worked really well at my last job with like a strategy change that they did. So it was a good time to leave. Like, I felt like I contributed a lot already, and I was like, I hit my savings goal. I like watched some YouTube videos of people who had done the same thing, and watched videos about how they budgeted, how much they needed for like a year, 2 years, and things like that. So then I was like, okay, perfect timing. Everything's working out financially with my job and at like this life stage, because I actually do feel like, I was telling you earlier, because you're a bit younger than me, when I planned to do this originally, when I took this job, I was 24, and now I'm almost 27, and I feel like when I planned to do it at 24, I envisioned it slightly different way than I envision it now, and I do feel like if I had waited even a year or two, it would also look very different, like if I'm 28, 29, or 30, traveling and like what I want out of it and things like that. So I can already feel my expectations shifting. Like when I was 24, I was like, at one point I'm gonna live in a van and, go around the United States after I go around the rest of the world. And like now I'm kind of like, okay, maybe I don't need to go that hard and live in a van, but I can still travel and, also have a bit more money and flexibility. I don't have to book like the cheapest room in the hostel, and so yeah, you'll get there eventually.
Hopefully, if I make it out of the
fingers crossed. But I came to China first because my entire extended family is from there. My parents immigrated to the United States. I was born in California. And I had visited this country so many times in the past to visit my family, but never really like explored as a tourist. And now that I'm an adult and like have more travel experience and also speak fluent Mandarin, I thought it was a good opportunity to visit my family for like all across the country, and also see the country for myself and kind of form my own opinion about what China is and what my relationship with it is. And I got here on January 1st, so New Year, New Me, and I visited my family in Northeast China first. They are primarily in Liaoning province, which is near North Korea, like geographically. And I went with my aunt to Harbin, which is a pretty like more touristy now area, and you might have seen some viral Instagram videos or whatever about the ice and snow festival that they have there. I think they spend like $3 billion a year building this like ice themed theme park, and we went there. It was like minus 20 degrees Celsius, and then I decided it was too cold for me, so I'm coming somewhere warmer. And so I came to Yunnan afterward, and it's like a very ethnically diverse place, very interesting culture and politics, of course. And I've just been kind of traveling around here for the last 3 weeks, and my friend Julia was in Thailand, and I was like, girl, it's literally a 2-hour flight. You need to come here. So she did, and we've been traveling, and now here we are. So it's very early on in my trip, but it's been going great so far, and I'm really excited for what's to come.
This is wonderful. I think you opened a lot of different
It was a
things.
long ramble.
No, it's so great, so great. I love it. Thank you so much. And you kind of touched on a lot of things that I want to explore. So why don't we start with, I think, the first thing is language. The fact that you naturally speak, actually, a lot of children from people that immigrated to the US don't speak the language, unfortunately, or some of the ones that do speak it kind of very sparsely. I've discovered, or I discovered when I was in the U.S. But you speak it so well. Being here, so I've been solo traveling, and I have to say China is definitely one of the harder countries to travel to when you don't know the language, because obviously it's my issue because I don't know the language and I'm visiting. But I mean, people here really don't know or know very, very little English. And so, I mean, I guess we're lucky to be in traveling in an age and time where you have Google Translate and translators, because otherwise I think it would make it like extremely hard. It's already not easy, but it would level it up a little bit more. So please, can you tell us how, going back to a question. How do you feel it's been for you experiencing this and being American also, visiting your China, knowing the language fully? What's your experience also being with people and meeting people that
being
don't
your
know?
Tour guide.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what we were joking about the whole of yesterday, because I mean, now that we've got a tour guide with us, it's like, hey, can you please say this and that? And it's making me discover, actually meeting you has been one of the best things ever, because I'm not even joking. I've discovered China in a different ways, because it's allowed me to, I mean, indirectly find more communication and understand more the people here, because people here are really willing to interact and ask
100%.
And they're very intrigued. They're just as intrigued to know what you're doing wherever you are, and where you're from than you are with speaking with them, if that makes sense. So being able to have you help us with that has been great, because we've gotten way more insights into what people are thinking, what they want to say. Even yesterday, for instance, meeting so on the hike, we bumped into this huge group of people, and apparently they're all working for the same company, and they did a little like getaway trip, I guess.
Yeah,
working
like a
trip.
team bonding thing. They do an annual trip, they said.
Okay, well, I would have never known that they're actually a fertilizer drone company. And so when she told me that, I was like, whoa, like, that's so cool. Like, I have so many questions.
And one of the leaders who was with us was like, add me on WeChat. I'll talk to you. And then he was like, wait, she can't understand me. And I was like, it's okay. You can just translate on WeChat. And we were like bumping into them along the hike and like chatting and stuff. It was really fun.
Yeah. And we also talked to, you translated it again, with more people on the way, and it's honestly been great. Like you've really also having your perspective and again, this is something I was talking about with the German couple earlier today. You have an insanely unique perspective, because you come from having a bit like the Western eyes, but you are here, you know the language, like you're Chinese, obviously, and I think you also understand the culture and are able to communicate and have this very unique view. So you've kind of like opened so many new doors of how things actually work and the reality of things here, which are so interesting. Anyways, all of this ramble to go back to the question. So talking about this, how would you say then that you've experienced China so far then? You said you came here, you wanted to experience it as an adult and kind of like also formulate your own opinion. So far, where do you stand? What do you think?
I think a lot of people think, like, first of all, I totally acknowledge that and I totally agree, China is like advanced traveler level because of the English proficiency and how it's a whole different digital universe where payment methods, apps, you can't use Google and you need a VPN, and all of this is so complicated. And of course, it's much easier for me to travel. Like, I visited family before, and I already had WeChat. I already kind of know how it works. I can read most things on a menu okay and speak, pretty decently with a very standard accent. But what I actually was surprised by, especially the first 1 or 2 weeks where I started traveling by myself, was that I was having a hard time. Like, there's kind of this like dissonance of people see me, they know that I'm Chinese, and when I speak, I speak with a pretty proper accent, and they know that I'm, my family's from northern China, and they don't know that I'm not from China. So they're like, they expect me to to behave a certain way and to speak a certain way. But actually, I feel like sometimes the way I speak is very like childish almost, because I learned Chinese in Chinese school as a kid, and like I don't interact with a lot of like mainland Chinese young people, so I don't know the slang or anything like that. So it's like there's a slight disconnect, and then people are like, oh, where are you from? When I say I don't have a Chinese mobile number because they can't call me, and they assume maybe I'm from Malaysia or Singapore. There's a lot of tourists here, and I'm like, no, I'm from America, and people are like, like, but you don't look American, you know? And then I have to explain like, oh, I was born there, and I have a U.S. passport. I have to get a visa to come here, but like, it's a funny day-to-day kind of interaction with people. They're very amused, and they don't meet a lot of people who look like them and speak like them, but are actually from a totally different culture, you know? So it's a really interesting way to connect with people. And they're, like you said, also very curious about what it's like in the US. And they hear a lot about, you know, on the news, and it's such a big country, you know? But day-to-day, like internally, there was kind of this, I experienced such a big struggle because first it's so exhausting for me to all of a sudden function and think and speak only in Chinese. Like, even though I do speak Chinese with my family at home, and like I went to Chinese school and my extended family is all here, to do it 24/7 is a whole different thing. Like anyone who learned a second language or speaks a different native language to the one that they primarily speak knows that there's like a slight, like it's different when you have to think in a different language. And also, like, it's frustrating to be a solo traveler and like look at a menu and, you know, it's all gigantic dishes and you want to try everything and you're not able to.
Yep.
And I walk into a restaurant and I'm like, I can read maybe 80% of what's on this menu right now, but like they think I'm Chinese, but I kind of want to pull out my translator so I can like fully figure out what I want to eat. It's just like these weird little obstacles that make it a little bit more difficult, and I actually really struggled with that in the beginning. Like I had a really embarrassing experience at a restaurant where it was clearly not made. It was like a fish hot pot place, not made for a single person, but I'd heard a lot of great things about it. I was like, I'm gonna go anyway and just try to like stuff my face, and the lady was kind of just like, no. And like, you're not going to be able to eat here. Like, you can ask that couple that's waiting in line if you can join them and do a 3-person hot pot. And then so I asked the couple who originally actually tried to cut me in line because they didn't think I was waiting at this hot pot restaurant. So at first I already called out this couple for cutting me in line. I was like, excuse me, I've been waiting here. And then this auntie that works there rejects me because she doesn't think I can eat a whole hot pot by myself. And it's a small restaurant. And then she asked me to go back to this couple who just cut me, and I called them out and asked them if I could eat with them. And I was like, okay, you know what? I really want to eat here. So I asked the couple.
Oh, you did?
I did. I asked them, and I was like, hey, like, auntie wants me to eat with you guys. Is that okay? And the girl's just like, no.
She's like, girl, this is a date.
She was so unfriendly. And I was like, this is the most embarrassing thing ever. And the worst part is, I had already waited like 40 minutes. I thought this was like my third day, my second day traveling, and I was like, I hate this. This is mortifying. And then I literally just walked back to my hotel. And I was like, I can't even eat anymore. Like, I just ate an apple because I was like, I'm so embarrassed. Like, I can't. Like, they're not gonna let me eat because I'm a solo person and I don't want to eat another bowl of like Yunnan rice noodle. You know, however good that is, right?
Girl, I've been stacking them.
I know, but I just, you can't eat the same thing over and over again, you know? And I'm just like, I'll, you know, have some leftovers, I'll eat it later, but they were just like, no. Yeah.
That's awful, dude. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I laughed so much, but it's...
No, it's okay. It's so funny now. But it, like, really impacted me. Like, I was so embarrassed.
Oh.
Yeah.
I would have been... Well, especially if she's like, go back to the couple.
I know. And then she goes, no. Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. You know what? It's fine. Like,
I'm never going to see them again.
You're never going to see them again. And you know what? This is the sort of experience that, you know, it's a character building. Yeah, exactly. Boom. All right. Okay. Well, we're off on a rough start. But you know what? It's okay because now you're doing so much better. And we've been eating because, what was it? lunch, dinner, and lunch again today. We did family style, which has allowed us to eat several things, so trying different things. Also getting some veggies in, which has been wonderful. Yeah. Especially for me, because I have been stacking up those noodle balls.
All carbs.
All carbs. 99% carbs.
Yeah. I was actually really excited for Julia, my friend, to come here because I was like, thank God, now I can eat like something slightly bigger, you know. Even if we go to a restaurant, we can order maybe 2-3 things, and I can try more stuff. I will not be embarrassed because 2 of us can eat a fish hot pot, you know, kind of situation. But I was also glad because I still like obviously feel like a foreigner, you know, but people don't see that when I walk in. So if I have my token white friend walk in with me, at the least they know one of us for sure doesn't speak Chinese. We'll pull out a translator. We'll take a little bit longer. So then it feels like more okay for me to like stand there awkwardly and like not have any idea what's going on.
And take your time.
Yeah, exactly. And people are like, oh, she's the tour guide taking her white person around, like she knows what's going on. So it's a bit different of a dynamic, but I really actually enjoy it. And I know you guys keep being like, oh my God, like you're a tour guide, like we're asking you to do so many things and translate, but I'm having a good time too.
Okay, I'm so happy because we really were using her as our like live translator.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, I appreciate that.
Of course.
I think I don't know if we should bring this up, but should we talk about the experience with the, like, I guess keyword is Pokemon?
Yeah.
I feel like
yeah, we can.
All right. Do you want to introduce it? Because bueno. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
I want to add something after, but please.
Yeah. So any person who is not ethnically Asian knows when they come to China, or like a lot of different places around Asia where there's not a lot of people who look like them. People are like taking photos of you. They're so amused. They're like, hello, how are you? You know, it's using whatever English they know to try to communicate with you. And it's like, there's a sense of curiosity. It obviously can make you uncomfortable because you're like enjoying your food, and in the corner there's an auntie taking a picture of you, and you're probably gonna go on her WeChat, you know, like she's gonna send it to all her friends and be like, I saw a white person today. So I try to, like, when I see this kind of situation where it's like giving a little bit like a zoo situation where this Chinese person is like, oh my God, a white person, like I'm gonna take a picture of them, and I feel like it's actually a little bit rude, I will call them out and be like, listen, like you can ask this person to take a picture of them, don't be weird, you know, because it's also, on the one hand, I'm like, I understand why a tourist would feel uncomfortable with this, but I also feel uncomfortable because I'm Chinese and this is embarrassing. Like, why are you acting like you're in a zoo, you know?
If I may interject, I feel like this is, I think most people that travel, like some of them do, it is like a bit weird when you're not used to it or when you don't know about this. I have to say, as a white person that doesn't have blonde hair or light eyes, it doesn't happen to me as often as other people. But if you have light eyes or blonde, or if you're tall, that's like, I met some Canadians actually at a couple 2 weeks ago, and they told me they had been like in China for maybe not even a week, and they had 5 people asking them for pictures at least. Yeah. And so I think that's also a big thing. So
yeah, that's a good point. I've also heard stories of people like coming up to you and handing you their like baby so you can hold their baby.
I've had that a couple of years ago.
Like,
yeah, no,
take
this
a
happened
photo
to me in
of
Vietnam.
their toddler child and you know. Yeah. So in these situations, I'm like, well, let's like bridge this gap a little bit. I'm gonna call you out. Like yesterday on the hike when we met these drone company people. Right. One of the guys started taking a photo of us sitting at the table, and obviously everyone noticed, and he was just like, you know,
I was so oblivious, dude. I didn't notice.
We noticed, and I turned around and I was like, please don't be so weird. And then he was like, oh, is that rude? And I was like, yeah, like it's fine to take a photo, but just ask them first, you know, like say hi before you start like sneakily paparazziing this situation. And then their company like manufactures drones for fertilizers, and it's based in Xinjiang province. So they all came here, and then we were about to leave, and he was like, "Guys, come take a picture with our Uyghur colleague, who's like a beautiful, pretty lady." And I discovered later she wasn't even the only Uyghur person in their group. There were a couple men who were like younger guys.
Okay.
So he picked out the one Uyghur woman from their company.
Oh my God.
And was like, "Come, like our ethnic minority girl, come take a picture with these."
She was very pretty.
Yeah,
I have to say. She was a baddie, bro.
pretty. And she stood up, like she
damn.
was okay with doing it, right? And
She was
then-
so happy, but when you translated and you told us, we were all like, what? Like
Yeah.
I mean, we don't really need a picture with.
Yeah, it just like happened
then-
so quickly, and he was like, "This is our Uyghur girl, come take a picture," and everyone kind of stood up and were like, "Okay, let's take a picture."
Yeah.
And then later on, I explained that she's an ethnic minority from that province. So in his head, he was probably like, "Oh my God, white people are a novelty," and ethnic minority Uyghur woman who's very beautiful is also a novelty. So let's put them two together. They probably like also want a picture.
Yeah.
You know, I think that was that based on my assumptions in the interaction. I think that's what he was thinking.
Yeah.
But it was just like kind of strange.
Yeah, I think for me, what really, I mean, after this, you kind of laugh it up. Like, I don't,
Yeah.
so for me, I really don't care, It was like, oh, if it makes them happy, then yeah, sure, let's take a picture together. But I think the bigger thing for me was what really hit me to what was happening or what it really means when sometimes it's very random and or people want to take pictures with you, is when you told me after, they kind of see it as like collecting Pokemon cards. So it's like I haven't had this foreigner before.
Yeah, exactly.
So when she told me that, I was like, oh, I'm seeing it from a completely different perspective, because it really, in a way, it objectifies us even more.
A little bit. Not, and like it's never ever malicious, right?
Of course.
They're so curious, and when they realized that I could translate for them, there was a lot of you were asking a lot of questions, they were asking a lot of questions, and it was like a really sweet moment of like connection on the side of this mountain, and
and the thing I was gonna bring up, that's I think I don't know if it's funny, but I think the chair on top is, they took the picture of us, but I mean, they didn't take the picture. You took the picture. You were not on the picture. Why
woman. Would I be in? I'm a Han Chinese ethnic majority.
Exactly. They weren't like, oh, look at all these foreigners. No, not for you. Which is something we realized this morning when we were talking about this. We're like, wait, they didn't ask you.
I recorded this interaction because it was so funny.
Yes, this is so bad. Anyways.
Yeah, but that's the thing, like when I talk to people here and they're like, "Oh, you're American," they are curious about, our country and our culture and everything, but they're like, the way they talk to me is like, "Oh, foreigners," and then they realize like, "Oh, she's a foreigner too." They're like, "Oh, the other kind of foreigner." You mean. They're like, "Not your kind. You're like kind of like us, but not really. We're talking about this kind of foreigner."
Okay, well, actually, you saying this is great, because I'm also realizing, there's so much to talk about. Oh, you're so cool. Okay, so you just opened a super important thing that I want to explore. Your identity as a Chinese American. How have you experienced this growing up in the US? And also, well, here you've described it a little, but I guess how do you, tell me what you've experienced. And this is so bad. I'm not putting this in, I'm having a hard time putting this into words properly. I don't want to say how do you identify, because I mean, Chinese American, I'm sure, but how does it feel? Like, what have you experienced, or what do you define as, I don't want to say home, but you're in the US and you feel like fully American, like, I mean, I guess you do, but do you understand what I'm saying? I'm sorry, I'm not saying this.
No, it's hard to describe.
Yes,
but I think I get what you're talking about. I think like there's so much content out there like about being Asian American and like being XYZ kind of cross-cultural experience. So I don't want to like repeat all the same tropes of like, oh, you don't really belong in one and blah blah blah. But I think I was quite lucky to grow up in an area with a lot of immigrant families and a lot of ethnic diversity, and also specifically a lot of Chinese Americans as well. So I never, like, I brought dumplings to school and people were jealous of that, you know. I never got bullied for my food or anything like that. And we celebrated all different holidays and things, even from elementary school. So it was really, really normal for me, and I never felt like an outsider or anything like that. But when I come to China, when people see the way that I dress and the way that I behave, they kind of know that I am not like, they're like, I'm not from mainland China. You know, I had a driver once who, we talked about how Chinese people really love taking photos. I had a driver once, and I was waiting outside his car with him for someone else for 30 minutes, and he was like, oh, I know you're not from mainland China because in the 30 minutes you've been here, you haven't taken a single photo of yourself, you know? So the small behavioral things people will pick up, but I do feel like a sense of home when I'm here. Like, the food is familiar, even if I'm in a different region. The way people speak is very familiar, and especially when I'm with, like, you guys yesterday, it makes me feel closer to being Chinese in a weird way, like, even though I'm with people who are raised objectively in a more similar way than to what I was raised. But to have to, like, explain these little things, like how you use a bathroom, like all the bathrooms here are squatting, and like Jenny kept mentioning, like, why is everything glass? Like, there's a glass, like, translucent glass thing in the bathroom. She's like, I swear you can see, and I'm like, don't worry, no one's looking. You know? To have to explain these things that to me are, like, very normal, and also use, like, both parts of my brain. Like, if I was an American experiencing this, how is the best way to explain this? You know, it's really, really interesting, and I really enjoy it. It's quite fun, and it's nice to be able to, like, I really want people to come to China more and experience it for themselves and, like, debunk crazy myths that we have about this country and the culture and things like that. But obviously, like you said, there's still a big gap. Like, you can't speak with locals as easily. So me being here and being able to, you know, connect 4 people closer to the people here, like, is really satisfying for me.
Okay, boom. I love that. Because I know that the German couple also feel the same way.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you so much for sharing that. I think it's a unique experience, and I love how you described it as using your brain, like two parts of your brain, of like switching your Chinese brain on, or you know.
Yeah.
This is cool. You brought up something which we're jumping to different topics, but you say in the 30 minutes you've been here at this stop, a driver told her, "Oh, you haven't taken one picture, so I know you're not Chinese."
Yeah.
This is something we did explore quite a bit, because something you notice when you come to China as somebody that's not from China is that there's insane amount of tourism here, but it's mainly local tourism, which is, I think, different from what the type of tourism, for instance, that I'm used to. How I am in different countries is different. So maybe we can talk a little bit about that, because I think that it is like a difference that's very noticeable. But before saying that, in terms of different myths to debunk about China, I recommend everybody travel to China, because it's probably one of the safest countries in the world. Like, you can literally leave all this gear and come back tomorrow, and it's still gonna be here. Like, this. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I've never been anywhere safer than China. Yeah. Anywhere in China, I feel. Anyway, I don't know. It's not like I've traveled that much. The country's huge.
This is a really good example. It's like, from the West, you perceive China, the Chinese government, as like, there's cameras everywhere. It's surveillance. You know, like, they want to track your citizens, which, of course, there's some truth to that. But also, on the flip side, it's so safe. Like, it's really easy to find people who do commit a crime, and for police officers to respond more quickly to different situations. And so that's like the insider's way of perceiving it. It's like, we all sacrifice a little bit of privacy for the greater good of the community, which is, I think, a huge difference between the way that Chinese people think and the way that American people think. And we experienced this a lot during COVID as well, when the Chinese government was very, very strict, and of course COVID hit here very badly. But Americans were complaining about having to wear masks in public sometimes, like my freedom to breathe oxygen. And meanwhile, they were perceiving China as like this authoritarian, crazy kind of situation where they're trying to control citizens, they're keeping them at home and things like that. But when you actually speak to Chinese people who live here, like my family members, they were like, America's so chaotic right now because there's so little regulation and rules, and your rules that are like kind of not that real, like it's hard to enforce. But my family members here were like, we feel safe and we're okay with staying home for a little bit longer if it means less people are sick, especially elderly people.
Yeah.
But you don't hear both of these perspectives when you read about something on the news, right?
Yeah. This is, I hate this because there's so many things that we wanted to talk about and we're not. I even opened the parenthesis about tourism and but I want to talk about
skip your bus.
At this point I'm literally considering this. I need to leave in less than 20 minutes, guys. Okay, so okay, just I think this is gonna be the quick, because I did open the whole thing about tourism, but the main thing is that tourism in China, it's the local tourism people here. It's all about taking pictures, going to places, very crowded places, and taking pictures.
Yeah,
I guess that's
like they want to see the sights and they take a picture. They want to share it with everyone. There's less of a, like right now at least, there's less of a desire to like go deeper, like understand the history of something, understand the meaning, get to know the people who live there. And because domestic tourism is like much newer of a thing than it is for like the US or for French people, Europeans, because like very recently in Chinese history, there was mass poverty. Of course, people were not traveling, so it's like they're trying to stimulate internal tourism now, and maybe eventually it might evolve into something where people are less likely to dress up and take photos and more likely to like go to a museum, but it's just a very different thing. You'll see girls walking around with high heels and like ethnic costume, and there's a professional photographer with 3 different cameras taking a picture of them, and that's like a lot of young women's view of what they want their travels to be right now.
Travels or a weekend activity or something
exactly.
to do. Okay, that's great. We're going over all this so quickly. We definitely need to do a part 2 because there are a million of other things we discussed that were so interesting. Claire, you're so knowledgeable. You're so cool. We have to wrap this up, unfortunately. So I'm going to ask you the 2 last questions I like asking, one random question and one related to music. Could you please tell me what your favorite song is at the moment? And if it's better if it's Chinese, because we're in China right now. So.
Oh my goodness. Wait, I have a Chinese song that I really like.
Okay, I'm going to use it as the outro. That's the premise.
Please do. I think I'll send it to you after. I can't remember what the exact name is, but it's a rap song. Like a really small like rapper, and she's rapping about the pressure of being a young woman and feeling the need by, your elders, your parents, your family to get married, to have kids and do all this. But actually, you want to live your life first. And she says stuff like, I haven't even chased my dreams yet. How could I, settle down and start a family? And it like really resonates, I'm sure, with a lot of young people who feel like a lot of pressure to follow a traditional path and then, do things like quit your job and travel instead. So I really like that song. It's great. And the lyrics are really well written.
Oh my God, boom, I love that. I think it's so cool. I don't think I haven't yet listened to Chinese rap. So this is going to be awesome. And the fact that it's something that I think is relatable to, as you said, I think it's relatable to you, obviously, considering the fact that we're here, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's definitely probably relatable with a lot of women here because the bar is set so high for so many reasons, which will be explored in part 2 when I see Claire again somewhere else. But yeah, the bar is set so high, and I think expectations are high, and there's a lot of, I think, pressure, just like in a lot of societies, but to fit in. But I think it's more of fit in just to make sure that you're okay for your future type of thing, not fit in just because, sabes, como que there's like a deeper meaning to it, not in a, anyways, you got what I'm saying. Okay, so the last question here that I have for you, the random question of the day is, I have 2, okay. I think this one is going to be good for you.
Okay.
What is the most useless skill you're surprisingly good at?
Oh, Oh my gosh, useless skill.
Yes. I mean, we have a backup question in case, but
Okay, what you need to inspire me. What's your useless skill?
I'm the host. I ask the questions, girl.
This is a conversation.
That is so true. I picked it yesterday and I was like, oh, I need to think of one, and I obviously. I know, I have one.
Okay.
I have one.
Okay.
I don't know if it's considered a skill, but I can move my ears and my eyebrows at the same time.
Do it.
If you want to see.
Oh my god.
And I think very
Really
I think
random.
maybe very random. I don't know if it's a skill.
How do you even discover that?
I've known I can do this since I was very young. I don't know why.
That's so
random.
funny.
Yes. I don't know if you can consider it a skill though. I need to find a better one. Apologies, guys.
Tune in next time to learn what the actual useless skill is.
Absolutely. Next episode, part 2 with Claire. I think we're definitely gonna have part.
Oh yeah, we're
20
both
million.
traveling for a long time. We're gonna end up
Yes.
in the same place again.
Absolutely.
But to close off, my totally different useless skill is that I'm really good at folding paper.
Oh, that's a cool one.
napkins, like the wrapper that comes off of disposable chopsticks. Like I'm always folding it into something. Totally useless, unless I can fold it into a chopstick stand. Very basic stuff. But when I'm doing nothing, like waiting at a bus stop, I'm always folding something,
Okay.
And it started with origami, but obviously I'm
gonna
not
ask
always
you-
creating something. And even origami sometimes is just okay, I have a crane now. What do I do with it, But it's just fun, and it's meditative almost,
Okay. That's such a cool one. Fuck, mine is so. I need to, guys. Please disregard mine.
She's gonna edit this out.
The most important one was hers because you're the guest here. Mine doesn't count. I will find a better one to.
I love it.
This one is so cool. I love it. This is such a cool one.
Thanks.
I really did.
I've literally never thought about this before, and then I was like, I
What?
guess I fold stuff a lot, and clothes.
Okay.
That's useful though.
That is so useful.
It's useful for packing.
Exactly. Especially traveling. There you go, guys. This is a podcast about
Full
traveling.
circle.
Exactly. So full circle. Full circle with missing.
A lot of interesting conversation that's missing here, but tune in,
Exactly. No, it was honestly so great doing this with you. I laughed so hard.
I'm so glad.
I think you're great. I'm so grateful that we started speaking on the bus.
Yeah,
Very
exactly.
randomly. You spoke with me because I was trying to.
Because I heard
communicate
the
with
guy
you.
next to her was trying to speak English, poor English with her, and I was like, I can translate for you guys.
Yeah, and then I heard you and I was like, wait a minute. She's speaking a lot of English right now. But yeah, honestly, I'm so glad that obviously I'm meeting you towards the end of my China trip, but a gem, an absolute gem.
I'll be everywhere else. This is the beginning for me, so.
Okay, boom. Well, if you enjoyed this, guys, feel free to follow along. We're gonna be posting more. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you for the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh wait, quickly, I'll just show you the view from here. Again, this is from the... Look at this, guys. I don't know if you can see. Wait. I mean, isn't this beautiful? I can't really see much. Anyways, see you next time.
村里的人说我太奇怪，这孩子怎么会这么去想？不结婚生小孩，谁给的提倡？其实我低头流泪，其实是害怕再和年轻时的你一样。他们掐住我的喉咙，要我确定成家，梦想还没去做就先要我成家，斗个形式罢了，这就叫做成家。成家不应该和我爱的人吗？原来我没有过谁。
来站到这个位置。给我起来，买那么一拉的耶。好，凳子拿去。好。你先来啊，你先来。好。OK。